We're still in phase one of the province's reopening plan, and a lot of people chomping at the bit to move on to phase two and eventually phase three. Let's check in with a local business owner. Mark Wood owns the Grantham House in St. Catharines and the 40 Public House in Grimsby. Mark, welcome to the program. Mark, some serious frustration for you in your business, both of them fairly new businesses when we look at it. The Grantham House, not even 3 years old, and the Public House, the 40 Public House in Grimsby, just over 4 years old. Not enough time to really establish yourself, and now hit with this shutdown must be a very daunting task.
It is, and actually, the both businesses might seem reasonably in the same category as far as longevity concerns, but that couple years difference has actually made a big difference. Being able to establish more of a regular clientele after 4 years in Grimsby has made some of this takeout and delivery option a little more successful. A lot more options in St. Catharines, a lot harder because we're not fully established yet. You know, a 2 to 3 year business doesn't really have its feet fully planted on the ground yet. So it definitely adds a bunch of challenges with what's going on in the industry and how we're supposed to make changes to keep up.
As far as an employer, you had 34 staff members between the two restaurants, and those people have all been laid off?
They were laid off the day we were told to close. They got no notice of any kind. I got we watched the news and were told they weren't allowed to open. And from that point on, they all just received their notifications of no longer being employed.
Have any of the government programs to help people out helped you as a business owner yet?
I don't want to pretend there's been no assistance. Realistically, some of the assistance is actually just knowing that my employees are taken care of. You know, it'd be a lot more stressful for some of them, although a lot of them are in different cases. They have different sized families and children and different financial needs. But the CERB funding, which I qualify for as a business owner, which is mind-blowing because the province has never recognized business owners with the assistance of EI, CPP, WSIB. They've never given us any of those luxuries, but that barely covers my own bills. I'm expected to keep two businesses open, which still both have rent and insurance and tax needs and utilities. So the support they're giving, even as a small business, isn't even kind of enough to make up. I lost more money in the first 2 weeks we were shut down in both businesses than I've been able to recover at all. And the longer it lasts, the worse it gets, because some of the programs that are helping in a very minor fashion are also about to run out.
It's at least 95% of the businesses in Niagara are small to medium-sized enterprises, including yourself. And, you know, the health of those businesses in getting through this, it's really kind of suspect for many of you.
Without question. And what the average person doesn't realize is that it's not like the day we're allowed to open, we're just going to turn on a switch and everything's going back to normal. So the financial burden and the unknown of the economic system here is just as daunting as the actual lockdown. You know, I've had to speak to my employees already, because the day that a small business reopens, they don't just call up all their employees and bring them right back. I'm in a financial hole. We've got financial burdens. We're not sure about how many customers are going to feel comfortable and safe coming back out in public. It could be 12 months to 2 years before I even have the need for all of the people I just laid off. There's people that was unfortunately got laid off without notice that may never come back to work for me. And, you know, being in the Niagara region in the hospitality industry my entire life, like I'm aware of how many businesses out there have the same problem I do.
Mark, are you involved in talks with any government officials at any level about what that restart will look like for the bar and restaurants?
I've been in talks with some organizations locally that speak to politicians. I'm a member of the Niagara Greater Chamber of Commerce. I'm a member of the Grimsby Chamber of Commerce. I'm on the board of the BIA in Grimsby and have been in St. Catharines in the past. And they include me in a lot of group conversations about what our expectations are and what we're hoping to see. And usually a representative of one of those organizations speaks to politicians about what's going on. So we've been asked a lot lately about what's going to happen, because there's a lot of hearsay right now about maybe a percentage of capacity we'll be able to open at. You know, maybe we'll be allowed to reopen if we only let in 25% of our legal capacity. Unfortunately, it's a lot of square footage and a lot of utilities and a lot of bills. And there's a fine line between us trying to keep enough people in there to be safe and it being worth our while financially to open the door. If I have to stop at a 25% capacity, but I still have to pay for an entire building, which I'm going to get less support for now, because once the lockout's over, all of the government programs are going to fall apart. I've got to decide whether or not that's even worth it. I may not bring anybody back. I might have to keep my doors closed until they increase the capacity or loosen up some of the other the potential PPE controls they're going to put in place.
Have you seen other like businesses fall by the wayside during this time as well?
I've already had 3 neighbors in Grimsby close their doors permanently. A few in St. Catharines. I'm obviously following bigger markets. I know that Toronto's a lot tougher, and in a lot of different restaurant organizational groups, and hear about things that are closing down. People have different needs and different things.
Dire times for the restaurant industry. Mark, we hear you, and we certainly hope that you are heard by the officials and that something comes your way, at least, to make sure that restaurant owners like yourself can stay open. Thanks for your time today.
Okay, Ted. Have a good day.